Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Phatkat Collections. Got another watch review for you folks. And today we are looking at a watch by Cadola. Cadola is a brand under the Dartmouth, kind of what I call like the parent company. You have Dartmouth Brands, which has several other brands underneath, kind of their main name. I'm not sure how you refer to that, but basically you have brands like Cadola, Aviate, RGMT, Spinnaker, and a few other different brands. So you guys know I've been working with Dartmouth for quite some time. It's a lot of fun adding new watches to my collection and then being able to share them with you guys. And the cool thing about this is that owning these watches, I could always come back down the road and let you guys know, how is the watch held up? Did I have any kind of issues? And you haven't really seen any videos on this channel where well, there's one Invicta I did. That was like kind of a factory defect I got years ago. But most of the reviews are positive. And I haven't really come back to any watches to explain any kind of issues that I've had. And I just haven't had any, right? Now that might be because a lot of my watches don't get worn on a daily basis, So when you have a collection of over 400 watches, the watches don't get tons of wrist time. I do have those watches that I tend to wear a little more than others, but it just kind of depends on my mood. And that's the cool thing about affordable watches and in this kind of affordable watch hobby is that you can add a lot of cool watches to your collection, and really they're going to last you a lifetime. Now, you can always have good and bad like with anything, but generally the more often you wear it, the more often you bang it on walls and move it around, and you could always potentially have a watch that fails. But if I ever have one, I'm going to come back and re-review it. And the idea in that too is that allows the company to kind of look at where the watch failed and maybe make improvements down the road. I think, honestly, if you have a watch that lasts you 10, 12 years, I don't really think anybody can argue about the quality in that. It's disappointing if you do have something come up, but the odds of something come up are kind of slim to none. Of the collection of 400 watches, I haven't had any issues, other than ones that actually came from the factory with a factory defect. Because remember, when you're buying affordable watches, they're not subjected to the same scrutiny as, let's say, like a Rolex or an Omega, right? But they ought to be subjected to that scrutiny when you're paying $12,000, $13,000, $20,000 for a watch. It's crazy to me to spend that much money on a watch. We have so many great watches, but always to each your own. Buy what makes you happy. Buy what you enjoy wearing. And no matter what your budget is, you're going to get a nice quality watch. It's just the world we're living in. So we're going to talk about Cadola today. And I've reviewed a few Cadolas on the site before. It's a brand that I get some of these watches in from time to time. A lot of the watches on their website are available to you guys, but not always available to me for review purposes. And what we're going to be talking about today is the chalk white. It's called the Dog Leg Automatic. And this is CD10330-44. So let's check it out. And I'm going to give you guys just kind of the spiel and just what they list about this watch on their website. Give you guys a couple close-ups. You guys can see I'm now filming in 4K using my brand new Sony camera. I think you guys are going to enjoy the video quality. It just has the ability to really focus in more on the details. Some watches film better than others. Sometimes if you get a dark face watch, you get a lot of reflection. I reviewed one by Oceania the other day. It did get a little bit of reflection, but this one's turning out pretty nice on camera. All right, we're going to come back to this, okay? So let me just give you guys a spiel here. Again, it's called the Dog Leg Automatic, and this is, they state, and this is not verbatim, but the Dog Leg embodies the spirit of 24-hour endurance racing with its unique 24-hour automatic movement. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that works. Just kind of looking at the bezel here and the way this lines up. Oh, I kind of get it now. So it's interesting. Actually, it's kind of cool. So the watch is actually, from the best that I can tell, it's a military time watch. So you don't actually have 1 through 12, you have 1 through 24. That's pretty unique. I don't think I have any other watches in my collection that have that. In order to have something like that, you would have to get a watch that has a GMT hand. That's really cool. I honestly have had this watch in my possession now for about, 3 weeks maybe. And I sometimes I learn about the watch as I'm filming. So kind of cool. You get my actual authentic reaction to this kind of stuff. So all right, let me just move on. I'm blown away. I actually need to size this and wear it. And it just says here, the hour hand eliminates the need for realigning time between day and night. Exclusively designed for motorsports professionals, the customized timepiece showcases Cadola's commitment to accurate timing, and it's a testament to their expertise. So, a little sales pitch on that. Let's talk about the specifications on it. So it's an automatic, just 3-hand movement. You have hour, seconds, and minutes. Get another shot here of that. You have a unidirectional rotating bezel, and this one here is a very, very light action bezel, very easy to turn. I will state there is a little bit of backplay, more so than you would get on a lot of the other Dartmouth brands. I honestly, you can just see if I wiggle it, and this is kind of how I kind of like to gauge backplay. I don't like to squeeze on the bezel. Like some folks are like, oh, it's backplay if they're trying to prove some point. But what I like to do is just gently, very lightly, barely touch the bezel, just kind of move it. And see, this is what I would consider backplay. See, it's got a little bit of a sloppy bezel. It's not horrible, don't get me wrong. Like, you're not going to pick this up and be like, oh, it's terrible. You know, it's just not the case. But it is a very light, easy to turn bezel, which honestly, sometimes I prefer, because sometimes some of these bezels I have kind of a hard time turning. Depends on, every watch is a little bit different, but I do like that. You do have a screw down crown, or wait, do you? Hang on a second. You do not have a screw down crown on this, so it's just a push-pull crown. 13.5 millimeters in case thickness. 43.5 millimeter case. It's kind of an odd size. Most of the time they're either 38, 40, 42, so they kind of stepped it up a little bit. So you have a watch that's a little bit larger than your standard, 42 millimeter size watch with some gold accents around the bezel. Most of the watch is just 3/16 stainless steel. In the face, they do say chalk white, but I'd almost consider that has kind of like a shimmery, kind of silvery white kind of look to it. They say the dial color on this is gray. I think that's kind of odd that they call it chalk white, but yet the dial color is listed as gray. I think gray is more realistic, but it is kind of a very light gray. Printed indexes with Japanese luminous or lume. It does have a sapphire lens. It's kind of a checkbox for many folks. Just to pull out crown, 28 millimeter stainless steel bracelet with fold over buckle and safety clasp. It is just a milled clasp on this. This is sometimes a deal breaker for some folks. For me, I never care, because once the watch is buckled, you don't even see that. But I will state that having a milled clasp does give it a little bit more of a refined look, but it's not that big a deal. 200 grams in weight, and 10 ATMs of water resistance. Pretty cool. That's about the only specification. As far as the movement, no idea. Three hands, automatic three hands. I have no idea. I just had a conversation with a guy the other day about this, why they are not listing their movements on their site. It's one of the biggest deal breakers I think people have with these brands. If I can wholeheartedly tell you that if you like brands like Invicta, Aragon, Spinnaker, I mean, you're getting that same level of quality. So I just hope that eventually they listen to what I'm stating and they put on their site exactly which movement. I'm going to guess and say it's probably a Miyota. That's generally what they use. But great looking watch. I love the 24 hours on it. That's really wicked. Very unique. You just don't see that on... I've never seen on any watch. Of all the watches out of my collection, I don't have any watches that are a 24-hour style watch. So really cool. I dig that. And, you know, discovering things like this is kind of fun because it makes me really want to wear the watch, right? Military time, awesome. Now, again, you can get the GMT, which will kind of do that. But to have a watch dedicated to military time, I think is pretty awesome. You know, finishing on this, a lot of times I don't even mention that because if you look at the tolerances on this, you know, it's not like these things are flopping around. This is as good as any luxury brand I've ever seen. Of course, if you take a luxury brand, you're not going to have that milled clasp. You're going to probably something a little more, I think, a little more refined. And, you know, I mean, but this is, you know, screw-on case back. It doesn't have that screw down crown, but yeah, that's okay. It does have a gold kind of plated crown, but there is a little bit of blue on that. And this is kind of like a protective coating they put on watches. This you can just take like a very light, sometimes you can peel it off with your nail. Other times you can take a little bit of, not a Brillo pad, but actually, wait a minute, yeah, like a Brillo pad or like kind of a coarse sponge and kind of rub it off. It's, you know, it'll come off, but pretty cool looking watch. Let me put it down for a second and show you guys the case here. So, this is what, or the box that it comes in. So you have your outer sleeve, got the Cadola branding on it. You have your middle sleeve, pretty much 24-hour on it, right? That's what it says. And then this is kind of a standard box you get with many of the Cadolas. It's kind of like a, I'd say almost like a canvas-like material. I'm not sure what it's meant to replicate. It almost has kind of like a lizard skin sort of look and texture. Cadola 1946. Pop it open. You have your manual, and then of course a little bit of foam, and just a very simple box. Nothing else comes with it, no additional straps. Simple, clean, to the point. You get it, right? And you guys know I never really get too involved in the boxes. So let me go ahead and take off. I'm actually wearing the Aquasea watch, or sorry, the Oceaniva watch, excuse me, I got the other day. If you haven't checked out my video on this, do check it out. Let's see what this one looks like. Now, I'm 5'8", weigh 182 pounds, and I have a 7-inch wrist. This one is not sized yet. I just want to get this reviewed. So you guys just got to bear with me here. This is what it's going to look like on a guy with my size, my height, and my weight. 43.5 millimeter. Definitely gives you a little bit more of wrist presence. If you were a guy who, you know, maybe is, you know, you've said before, you know, 42 is as big as I'll go. Maybe you want to test the waters a little bit with something a little bit larger. Most watch companies don't go 43.5. They'll jump right from 42 up to 45. Now, I know I'm not saying you can't find a watch out there, but generally that's kind of how the sizing works. There's always going to be those kind of one-offs or two-offs or, you know, those oddball sizes. But, you know, and again, don't come back and be like, I found so many. I get it. They're out there. But just typically, it's what they do. Very cool looking watch. Looks great on the wrist. It is available in a couple other color options. Let me just kind of give you guys kind of the rundown here. And I'm going to put the link in the description like I always do. They do make a black version, which is like, they call it machine black. They make a royal blue, and then they make the chalk white, and two more, the olive green and jet black. So the jet black is going to have your black face, black bezel, the green, green on green, the blue, blue on blue. The chalk white, this is the only one that has kind of a two-tone. You get the bezel in a black, and of course the face in what I'd consider like chalk, but they say it's gray. And then the machine black's pretty cool. It's all black with just a gold bezel. I may request that one as well to review. That one just has a really nice look. Oh, but whoop, I guess not. It is sold out. So that's the only one that's sold out. So as far as pricing on this is going for $488 right now, directly through Cadola. I'll put a coupon code in the description as well. I believe I have one for this company. Definitely want to take advantage of the coupon code. And if you pick this up, do let me know. I am curious on what you guys think of the quality. Very unique watch. And I think this is kind of one of those watches that, I don't know, kind of intrigues me. When you have a huge collection of watches, it gets harder and harder to find something that's kind of different compared to the other stuff that you have. And, you know, for me, I didn't realize it. I looked at this several times. I saw the 24 on it. Just didn't, I don't know, just didn't click. But it's pretty cool that it is a 24-hour watch. Again, of all the watches I have, I don't have anything that is what I'd consider, you know, referred to as military time or just a 24-hour time. You know, like GMT, same thing. You can set GMT watches to military time, but absolutely love it. Very cool watch. You can see what I mean. That bezel, very easy to turn. So if you are not a fan of very light bezels, just kind of keep it in mind. And it is not unidirectional, it is a bidirectional rotating bezel. So it does go back and forth. So you can very easily, you know, when you hit this on things, like if you're just kind of like putting on a coat even, you could probably turn the bezel. It is very light. But I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. It's very easy to turn, and I could go either way with that. I can, you know, I don't know. I do find it annoying sometimes if I have a watch where I'm trying to rotate the bezel and I have to really kind of get a good grip on it. A perfect example is like the Invicta Grand Diver that I have. It's a scallop bezel, and it's difficult to turn, slippery. This, very easy, very light, and very cool. So that's about it, folks. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions, by all means, drop me a comment. Let me know. If you do pick one up, let me know. I love hearing about it when you guys tell me if you bought something. My boy James Perez just bought, I just put up the Oceaniva new Damascus watch today, actually. And like, he wasted no time and picked one up. Those are limited edition. There's only like 9 left. So I know this video is about that watch. But I encourage you, if you see a watch that you really like and it fits into your budget and it's something that you see and you're like, oh man, I could see myself wearing that, by all means, pick it up. Get it while you can. Because a lot of times, with all brands, these watches kind of sell out and then they stop making them and then you're kind of out of luck. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day and take care.